Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat mula sa Embahada ng Pilipinas sa Denmark. So ngayong araw po ay magkakaroon tayo ng webinar on the COVID situation and vaccination program of Denmark in coordination or in partnership with the Filipino Organization of Nurses in the Nordic region, or what we know as FILNAN. So more than a year ago, COVID-19 or the coronavirus spread throughout the world. And as of today, we have more than 114 million infected individuals with a death of more than 2.5 million. So today we're going to discuss this situation in Denmark, and we have speakers from all over the Nordic region. I just want to notify everyone that we are recording this webinar and we are also live streaming this through our YouTube channel. So to start this program, may we hear the opening remarks of our dear ambassador, His Excellency Leo Herrera Lim.
Salamat, Barry.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning to everybody. I hope you're hearing me. It's a Saturday, so thank you very much for the time of everybody to take part in this seminar. First of all, I want to acknowledge again the efforts of the Nordic Philippine Nurses Association, particularly Crystal Tolosa Warburg. Yan ba apelido mo, Crystal? Parang sikat, Warburg. And then si Catherine Perez Lachman. Yan yung ba apelido mo, Kat? Masyadong sikat ang mga nurses dito sa Denmark. And then Andra Margaret Dumo, Gerard Paul Tupitas, Teresa, ano ba to, Chi or Chu Tupitas. Dahil sa Denmark, Chu ang pronunciation yan yata ng name mo. Mag-asawang Dupitas, no? Hindi naman kayo nag-share ng computer. Masyadong.
Hindi po.
Masyadong sikat, no? Kanya-kanyang computer. Mary Rose Velasco Mortenson, Toro Cobello, and also salamat sa embassy team, both for the substantive and the technical support for making this webinar possible. For all the participants, this webinar is part of the gender and development activities of the embassy, because many of the Filipino frontliners that pretty much face COVID on a day-to-day matter are women, either they're health workers or service staff within the service sector. And many of those who've lost their jobs are also women in the service sector. So we thought it timely to have this webinar as part of our gender and development activity. Also, this webinar is part of our offering for the 75th anniversary of the Philippine-Danish bilateral relations. Kung hindi nyo pa napapansin, we have launched our theme and our logo early this year. The theme for our 75th anniversary celebration is 75 years of friendship, partners in progress for sustainable growth. Yung logo, nakita nyo sa invitation nyo, it's, kung hindi nyo naintindihan yung logo, it's a sampagita and a windmill using the colors of the flag of both Denmark and the Philippines. And then part of this year's celebrations, we have several activities. Early this week, we had a political consultation with senior officials of Denmark and the Philippines, and the participation of both embassies. This happened, I think, in 23 February. Then throughout the months, we also have several CSR activities with Danish firms like Maersk, Torm, Arla, Danish Crown, Grundfos, Danfoss. We will also have activities on some of the Danish schools once the restrictions are relaxed. We will also have commemorative books and products. So as they say, keep tuned to this channel. We'll bring you some more activities for the 75th year of friendship. I think many of us, as mentioned by Barry earlier, have been impacted by COVID, but it did not stop us. Kung titingnan natin yung nakaraan na ilang buwan, parang nasa ano na tayo nasa season 3 ng COVID, di ba? Nakuha ko lang yan sa kakapanood ng Netflix na merong season bawat bagay. No? So siguro yung season 1, yung unang pagtama sa atin lahat ng COVID, no? Early spring, kukaunti pa lang ang alam natin at makikita natin na medyo mababa yung incidence of infection. And then yung parang season 2, yung medyo nagpabaya yung mga tayo, yung mga kapitbahay natin, yung mga kabarangay natin dito sa Denmark or sa Nordic countries, lalong-lalo na yung mahilig na activity ni Barry na pag-attend ng Black Friday shopping, medyo tumaas yung COVID infection rates bago pumasok yung season ng Pasko. No? So ngayon nasimula na yung vaccination program across Europe, parang pumapasok tayo sa season 3. No? Medyo nandiyan na yung pagtiwala na better days are ahead of us. No? Medyo malapit na tayo dun sa tinatawag nilang pagbalik ng nating pararaan ng pamumuhay. During this whole period of the pandemic, we at the Philippine Embassy, we complied with all the government directives. We always wash our hands. In fact, kakahugas ng kamay, medyo nawala na yung ibang namin, natuyo na. And then we socially distance and we wear our masks. We also have developed better and safer ways to deliver our services. Kung minsan nasisisi na nga kami sa embassy na kami na raw pinamagaling na embassy rito sa Europe. So huwag yun lang ipagkalat, baka mainggit yung iba. No? We also have continued to meet with many of our partners through Zoom, WebEx, and Microsoft Teams. And through properly distanced in-person meetings. Pero nakita nyo, medyo na-delay tayo dahil hindi pa kami sanay na gamitin tong Zoom. Medyo kuminsan pagka medyo madaming pumapasok sa webinar, medyo nagko-collapse yung system. No? Pero asahan nyo, hindi naman to prepaid yung Zoom namin. Talagang binayaran na namin yung subscription. Kaya sa darating na panahon, mama-mastery namin to. During the past few months, we've also met with people from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the parliamentarians here in Denmark, cabinet members, and business leaders. Ang aming reason lang for doing these things is to create broader awareness on the Philippines and generate respect for our country and our people. No? Alam naman natin to pag mas nakikilala ang ating bayan, ang ating mamamayan, ang mga namumuno rito sa Denmark or sa ibang Nordic countries, pati ang mga negosyante, mas tataas ang pagtangkilik nila sa Pilipinas or pagtingala nila, paggalang sa ating bayan at paggalang sa ating mamamayan. We also hope that our community will be the beacons of hope in the face of good citizenry across the Nordic countries, in Denmark, Greenland, in Finland, Sweden, and in Norway. We all have to do our part, no? Sa araw na ngayon, I think kung wala na kayo maalala mamaya siguro after 10 minutes, wala na kayo maalala rito sa opening remarks ko, hopefully ang maalala nyo lang is we have to be vaccinated. Okay? So kahit pag-alis nyo mamaya, makakalimutan nyo lahat ng ito lang tandaan nyo, you have to be vaccinated in the coming days. Wag nyo na i-compute kung ang binigay sa inyong vaccine is 95% effective, 85%, basta lumampas ng 50%, okay na yon. You have already reduced the risks of you getting the virus, the risk of you passing on the virus, and at the same time, the risk of you getting, in case you get the virus, getting sick severely. No? So, plus na sa atin yon pag nagpa-vaccinate tayo. No? At usually, hindi paramihan to kasi yung iba gusto 10 times sila ma-vaccinate. Kala nila times 10 yung protection nila. No? So later on, ika-clarify sa atin kung bakit merong 2 dose na vaccination. No? At siguro, before we try to end my remarks, the bigger ask for us, ito yung pangalawang na dapat tandaan nyo sa speech ko, no? Kalimutan nyo na yung mga jokes at side remarks. The bigger ask for us is to be the voice for vaccine equity. Diba? Narinig naman natin during the past few days that 75% of the global vaccine supply of the world have been destined for only 10 countries. This should change, and it should change quickly. Hindi gagaling ang mundo, hindi bubuti ang ating buhay kung kakaunti lang ang may bakuna. Okay? The only way that we can heal as one if we all get the opportunity to be vaccinated. So diyan po nagpatatapos ang aking remarks. Maiksi lang po. At salamat sa lahat ng nag-participate dito sa webinar. Mabuhay po kayo.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Leo Herrera Lim. And we hope that the Netflix series on COVID-19 ends in this season 3, no? For a class picture, I wish everyone could open their camera. We'll take a class picture now. So all participants and speakers, please open your camera and we'll take a picture with the ambassador. So, okay. Sarah, please take the picture. I'll count. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I think we're good. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you, Ambassador Herrera Lim, for pointing out that this is one of our prepared activities for the 75th year of diplomatic relations between Philippines and Denmark. So officially, this is our third activity after the launch of our logo, which I think you have seen in our banner, and the bilateral consultations a few weeks ago. So to move forward with our program today, may I invite our speakers, Andra Margaret Dumo and Floro Cubello. So our speakers for this morning are experts in their own fields. So Andra Margaret Dumo is working for the field of nursing sciences and health promotions. She's currently an early stage researcher in the EU Northern Periphery and Arctic Program, COVID-19 Response Group. So this program works together for better understanding in response to the COVID-19 crisis. So Andra Margaret Dumo is currently working for the University of Eastern Finland and is a research consultant. Meanwhile, Floro Cobello is a qualified registered nurse in Finland, Sweden, Iceland, and the Philippines. He specializes in infection prevention and control nursing with focus on infection control guidelines for international nursing students. He has worked as a University of Applied Sciences lecturer in an international degree program in nursing in Finland. At present, he is a healthcare recruitment consultant of a Finnish employment firm handling negotiations in Asia and defining corporate strategy. He's also the founding president of the Filipino Nurses Association in the Nordic region and the Society of the Filipino Nurses in Finland. So, as I mentioned earlier, today we're going to have a slew of speakers all over the Nordic region. So please welcome Floro and Andra. Hi, Andra.
Good morning, everyone. In behalf of the Filipino Nurses Association in the Nordic region, we would like to thank the Philippine Embassy for collaborating with us in raising the awareness about the COVID-19 vaccine. So we would like to uh, discuss some myths and versus facts, and Andra will tell you more about that. And after Andra's lecture or speech, I will give some examples of best practices here in Finland. How does the COVID vaccine um, works in Finland? So Andra, please do the honor, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Cloro. And first of all, happy 75th anniversary to the diplomatic relation between Denmark and Philippines, especially to our ambassador Leo Herrera Lim. Congratulations and more power. Makakaasa po kayo, sir, na sikreto lang po natin na kayo yung the best when it comes sa mga services dito sa atin dito sa Europe. So thank you for inviting us in this event, and we feel humble and honored to share to you our expertise. So my task today is to explain or share to you some of the myths and facts about the COVID-19 vaccine. Most common myths is safe ba yung COVID-19 vaccine because it was developed so quickly. As a representative in the research community, we would like to assure the public that the COVID vaccine is safe. Even though it was so quickly, it undergo this European Medicine Agency. It has a very strict regulations when it comes to passing a vaccine or any medicine. So it just and their purpose is to ensure the quality, safety, and its efficiency or efficacy. So this beginning of year, we had this info webinar conducted by European Patient Forum, and they shared to us about these different needs and facts of vaccination. And they have explained the development, evaluation, approval, and monitoring overview. So here is an overlook how they have done it in a rigorous way. So if we compare it with the standard vaccine and today's COVID-19 vaccine, the reason why this vaccine was created so fast, it's because this pandemic is considered as a state calamity or crisis, global crisis. That's why all of the experts and all the necessary resources, may it be in financial resources, human resources, technologies, there are available, and they have support all these things things in order to have this COVID-19 vaccine as fast as it could be. And the trials are done simultaneously. So sa in standard kasi ginawa is pa isa-isa. But for the COVID vaccine, sabay-sabay na ginagawa ng iba't ibang scientific or research teams. So, yun, yung early support for the vaccine developers, it's very important for the scientific team to do our job. We would like again to reassure the public that it's the same requirements for pharmaceutical quality, safety, and efficacy as other medicines in EU. So that's the explanation. And then the next one that they usually ask is the COVID vaccine alter our DNA. So here is a picture of how does this coronavirus vaccine works. It's quite complicated, but in simpler terms, the vaccine is designed to help our immune soldiers to be ready, to know what the enemy looks like, so that in the future, they can recognize it in our body and they can successfully fight fight this virus. In other words, the COVID-19 vaccine helps the immune system to be ready in the war against COVID. Now, can the mRNA or messenger RNA contained in the vaccine remain in the DNA of human? So it cannot change the human DNA, and it because it is RNA, it cannot enter the DNA of the vaccinated cell. And this DNA in the vaccine, it is easily broken down in the body. And then ito, I think is one of the most common questions asked, makakakuha ba na ako ng coronavirus sa vaccine? Magkaka-COVID ba ako? So you cannot get COVID-19 from the vaccine because it does not contain live virus. And the other speakers will testify or elaborate this fact. So I hope you stay and so that you can learn more from our other experts of this field. And another thing, yung COVID vaccine ba may tracking device? Kasi nag-boom yan sa media. We would like to inform you that this is not true. So this is one of the challenges now that we face. Vaccine hesitancy. And we cannot blame the public if they are hesitant because of the bad science, because of rumors and general misinformations. That's why we would like again to thank the Philippine Embassy for having us here to somehow help the public know about the facts regarding the vaccine. And then, nakakabaog ba ang COVID vaccine? Again, this is a misinformation on social media. But the truth, scientifically speaking, there is a spike sa protein na parehas sa placental protein. But the scientist or expert says it is too short para ma-trigger yung immune response, and therefore it will not affect the fertility. Another is this kung may severe side effect ba kapag nakatanggap ka ng COVID-19. I think this part will be explained further by our other speakers of today. But as an overview, some of the participants in the clinical trials did report some mild effects similar to those experienced with other vaccines. And there are rare cases, very rare, na nagkakaroon ng adverse or severe reaction sa ingredient. And one of these is this severe allergic reaction. So, and we call this as anaphylaxis. So, for this reason, hindi pwedeng ibigay sa mga taong may ganitong history, severe allergic reaction ng COVID. It's one of the indication bakit na hindi mo pwedeng ibigay yung vaccine. And then, ito. So, I've been diagnosed with COVID. So, I don't need to receive the vaccine. Okay, let's see. So, if you have already had this COVID, there's still evidence that you can benefit from the vaccine. At this time, the experts don't know how long someone is protected from your natural immunity. So, the immunity someone gains from having an infection, or we call it natural immunity, it varies or it differs from person to person. Some suggest or evidence suggests that natural immunity may not last very long. Then, once I received the COVID-19 vaccine, I no longer need to use mask. We would like to say to the public that the best protection we can offer to each other right now is to continue following the current guidelines. The use of mask, hand washing, physical distancing remain necessary until a sufficient number of people are immunized or immune. As more people are vaccinated and experts have a better idea on how long natural and vaccine immunity lasts, public experts, the public health sector experts will update their guidelines as necessary. Another is I'm not at risk of severe complications of COVID-19, so I don't need the vaccine. So regardless of your risk, you can still contract the infection spread. So it's important to get vaccinated. Gaya nga nung sinabi ng ating kagalang-galang na ambassador na kailangan nating magpa-vaccine kapag available na siya sa atin lahat. It's not only to protect you, but for your family and for the community. And then if I receive the COVID-19 vaccine, I am at a greater risk to become sick from another. We would like to say that the vaccine is made up of this mRNA, which boosts your immunity to coronavirus. It does not heighten your risk to become sick from another infection such as flu. And then I think this is the last one. I cannot get COVID-19 after being vaccinated. So experts explains that you can still get COVID-19 after being vaccinated for 2 doses. It's because there are this existence of different COVID variants. We want to assure you that this is not a sign that the vaccine have failed. But the data shows and indicate that post-vaccination coronavirus cases are mild disease. So the vaccines are really highly protective against severe disease. So even those who get COVID-19 after 2 doses vaccine are more likely to have mild disease. And we would like to share some of the innovations here in Finland. At present, we have this Corona Breath Analyzer. This is under a clinical trial right now, and this device will provide a diagnosis if you have COVID in 2 minutes, and it is likely to cost about €2. If you want to read more, there is a link here and you can see more about it. And in the university where I work, there is a research group there headed by Professor Seppo Yle Virtuala. He is a Finnish scientist, and they developed a vaccine that i-inhale mo lang and your body will produce the necessary antibodies to protect you from coronavirus. So these are the references, and thank you so much for having me here. Floro?
So I will give you an overview about the corona vaccination in Finland in relation to what Andra has been saying a while ago. So we are very glad that experts in Finland have been doing their best to create scientific works to combat coronavirus. So in Finland, Finland's vaccination system for coronavirus is voluntary. So the Finnish healthcare system actually mandates that municipalities are responsible for distribution and communication on the vaccination. So the country has produced 3 vaccinations, including Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and Moderna. So in the vaccination center where I have been doing part-time work, so I have injected to patients over 70 years old for Pfizer and under 70-year-old for AstraZeneca. These are used usually in the Uusimaa region, including Helsinki, Vantaa, and Espoo, and other major cities in Finland. So, but in northern Finland, they have been using Moderna. So there are no problems with the cold chain management and storage so far, but there are actually reports of wastage of the vaccine due to unclear guidelines on how to prepare the medications from the very beginning. So originally, from the Pfizer vial, you can get 5 doses, but recently there was one clinical nurse educator that she made a teaching video where you can actually withdraw 7 doses. So it is more on the technicalities on how you withdraw the solution from the vaccine. We keep on learning actually for many things in this pandemic time. So it's important that we share these best practices within the Nordic region. So what people need to think is not about the brand of the vaccine, but the protection it can offer in case the person gets sick from the coronavirus. That's what we're aiming for. Why do we need to vaccinate as many people as we can here in Finland or in our neighbors in the Nordic region? According to the Finnish Institute for Health and Welfare, the COVID vaccine offers protection against various virus mutations. Since all studies are still pending here also in Finland, we can rely on the evidence-based data, the recent ones that we are using, and of course the best practices, as I mentioned. And the system in Finland works so that people can take the vaccination through appointment system, and they go to the vaccination center as planned. So in the vaccination center where I was working, there are 2 divisions. We have the Pfizer section, and we also have the AstraZeneca section. So when patients or customers go to the vaccination center, immediately those who are 70-year-old and below goes to the AstraZeneca, and we have to assess their background, their existing comorbidities or diseases. And those who are 70-year-old and above, we immediately direct them to the Pfizer section, so that when they come, they are planned and they can just sit down and get the vaccination, and then we explain the side effects of the vaccination, and then they have to wait at least 15 minutes so that we can monitor them in case anaphylactic reaction comes. So we try to monitor them, and if they have history of severe allergic reactions or anaphylactic reactions from the previous vaccinations that they get, then we have to instruct them to stay for 30 minutes, and then we monitor them. In the vaccination center, we have medical doctor and 2 emergency nurses who will be there to assist the patient in case. At least for the past 3 weeks that I have been doing part-time work here in Helsinki region, we have not actually encountered anaphylactic reactions so far. So I could say that I trust the vaccination, the vaccines that have been produced here in Europe, here in Finland, that we are using. So everything is organized in the vaccination center because there are people guiding them, and they go to the public health nurse or registered nurse to take the vaccine and then explain about the side effects and what to do in case of the side effects. And we usually tell them that you can get signs and symptoms of influenza, but then you can just take basic non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, and then you can take a rest and then take fluid, increase oral fluid intake in case the fever lasts for 3 days. Then they have to call their health center and then have them tested for coronavirus. So as Andra mentioned a while ago, you can't get corona from the vaccination itself. It happens that you have been sick or you have the coronavirus without signs and symptoms before, getting the vaccine, or you got the coronavirus after being injected. So that's a fact. So COVID-19 vaccination is offered to all persons aged 16 or older who are willing to take the vaccine. So again, this is voluntary because the number of available vaccines is limited in the beginning, and they are first offered to people with higher risk of severe COVID-19 disease or being exposed to the virus at work. For example, our frontliners. I was also working at the coronavirus unit at the Helsinki University Hospital last summer, during the peak season. And I can see how the patients have actually suffered from the from coronavirus, especially the vulnerable groups of society, the elderly groups. And we have also patients who have been sick with corona. I remember I had one patient, 18 years old and above. So it is everyone's responsibility to follow the guidelines and the guidelines from the National Health Authority. So despite that you have taken the corona vaccine, we still instruct everyone to put your mask and practice hand hygiene. And then social distancing 1 to 2 meters. For Finnish people, it's quite normal to have safe distance. The vaccination schedule in Finland is mostly affected by the granting of the marketing authorizations and the availability of the vaccines. That's why we do the vaccinations first for the elderly group, and then the rest will follow as instructed by the National Health Authority. So at least those are the best practices that we can share here from Finland, and I'm sure the rest of our colleagues from the Nordic countries will have more things to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Andra and Floro, for the expansive and detailed discussion on the myths and facts about the COVID-19 vaccine. So I note from your presentation that the current vaccines we have that are approved by the European Medicines Agency in here in Europe are safe. They don't alter our DNA. It does not contain the live virus, and it does not cause infertility, according to recent studies. But I also, though, for some people, it may cause severe allergic reactions. So I think that's very important not to know if you are suffering from allergies, and this is, I know, severe allergies, then you may reconsider taking the vaccine. I think you have to consult your doctor first now and see if you can take that. And again, we cannot stress more the importance of getting vaccinated. So here in Denmark, I think our timeline is up to June this year. So I hope that everyone can get vaccinated by then. You will be receiving your vaccination schedules via ebooks. So please check that. For our participants, if you have questions, we are noting all of them and we'll be answering them at the end of our program. So moving to the next part of our webinar, Ms. Crystal Tolosa Warburg and Catherine Perez Lukman will be discussing the COVID situation and vaccination program here in the Kingdom of Denmark. So Crystal Tolosa Warburg is currently working as an assistant nurse manager in the infectious diseases department at Herlew Hospital. She is also the resource person for medicine, which is responsible for training and educating her fellow colleagues regarding updates in medicine and its documentations. So Ms. Catherine Perez Lukman is also currently working as a clinical instructor in Herlew Hospital. She is responsible for the training of nursing students to achieve their goals based on their semester description. Crystal is currently the Vice President of the Filipino Nurses Association in the Nordic region, while Kat is the second to VP and the Treasurer. So please welcome Ms. Crystal and Kat. Hi, Kath.
Yes, I just pulled up my slides. Yes, good morning, everyone. Crystal and I are going to present to you the vaccination plan and the current COVID-19 situation here in Denmark. So to start with, I'm going to show you the vaccination plan here in Denmark. And this vaccination calendar was updated just like yesterday. And then because I have this English version, but the problem is it's not really updated. That's why I included the list of the priority target groups, so you can see it in English. And then so you can see here that the number one in the priority is those persons or the elderly people who is living in the nursing homes, and the number two is those who are the elderly people or the persons who are accepting help from the our healthcare system here in Denmark. And as you can see here, as they explained, I'm going to show you the link later on. This that they explained that there is they can always you can always book and the invitation for the there is someone who asked about this booking system, but the problem is due to the limited number of doses we are receiving currently here in Denmark is limited. That's why they are only sending invitations from your e-box, those who are in the priority list. And so as you can see here, according to the plan, that these are the target dates or months or weeks where they are going to give the vaccination to the target groups. And in this slide, you can see here that more specific on how are they going to do or give the vaccination. You can see here that there is a one syringe here, and there are two here. The first, this one with one syringe, it means that they are expecting that the first dose of vaccination is already done on this, which is week 2, and then they are expecting that they're going to be done with the second shot by week 6, which is at the month of February. So this is currently their plan, which was also updated yesterday. But it still depends on the deliveries of the vaccines. Currently, they have been receiving still from Pfizer and from Moderna. AstraZeneca, they are still a little bit tentative on some of the vaccine shots on the doses, but Pfizer have a standard doses already, which is already agreed with our health department here in Denmark. So these are the approved vaccines being used here in Denmark. But my colleague Crystal is going to explain this further, especially with the side effects of those vaccines. So Crystal, the floor is yours.
Yes, I just have to share a screen. Can you just put the slides on the screen? Catherine, can you put the slides again? because I have a problem in showing it. Yes. Yes. In Denmark, the European Medicine Agency actually approved that we can use these 3 vaccines. If you remember, Catherine talked about we use in the first group of a citizen, we use the Pfizer, BioNTech, or Comirnaty. And then it is because in the trial period, it shows that there's an effective effect on them. And then the interval of this is 21 days, and given with only 0.3 milliliter, and it's 2 doses. And it's very important to get the same doses when the same doses with the 2 doses. And then you can see storage and storage temperature, it should be -60 to -80 degrees within 6 months. And then when you open it, it should be used within 30 minutes. And then the room temperature is the 30 degrees. And the Moderna as well, you can see it's a different interval there, and the doses as well. It's a 28 days, and the storage temperature is -25 and -15 degrees within the 7 months. And then there's durability in 1 hour, and then 8 to 25 degrees in room temperature. Actually, in Astra, they didn't actually write it down, but actually the storage temperature is 2 to 8 degrees. Yes, next slide, please. Yeah, these are the common questions I think we are experiencing. So I made these slides for you, so it's easy for you to read or look what's the common side effects of the vaccine. This vaccine, this is side effects is seen in the trials. So as you can see, there's almost the same side effects in every vaccine, like the nausea, pain, and the tenderness of the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle and joint pain, chills, fever. So it's common. So don't be afraid when you get your vaccine. Don't be afraid that you experience this side effects, because the side effects, if you get these side effects, this is a good sign, because it means the immune system is expanding and the vaccine is working properly. So wag po kayong matakot. Okay lang yan. As long, pag pinaksin din po kasi kayo, we will encourage you to stay at the site of where you get your vaccine within 20 minutes, and then there's a team that will assist you if ever you can get worse or serious adverse effect. There's a doctor, there's there's oxygen, and there's we are ready for that. So and then after you go home, so they will give you some link or telephone numbers or hotlines that you can call if you experience an adverse effect, side effects of the vaccine. Yes. You yeah. Oh, the first. Sorry for that. The last one. I mean the before one. No, but before one. Yeah. Yeah. In Denmark, Actually, I know there's a lot of question dahil nga na interpret natin at the vaccine is a cure for the virus. No, it's not a cure for virus. Ang vaccine po ay tumutulong para maanohan yung immune system nyo to get stronger. Sa Denmark po, ang pinaka-main goal namin is, or pinaka-main goal ng Denmark is para ma-reduce yung admission rate ng mga matatanda. Kasi they are the vulnerable group in the Denmark na just a little chance to survive the COVID virus and then the number 2 goal is to reduce the infection between the healthcare staff, because we know the healthcare staff are the pillars of the healthcare system. Kung kami po ay magkakasakit, mga tulad namin, our healthcare system will not function as it is. So napaka-importante po na kami as mga nurses o mga healthcare staff, hindi lang nurses, lahat ng function sa healthcare system na dapat sila po ay malakas, at hindi rin po kami kasi kami yung nasa front So marami kami nakakasalamuhan na may mga sakit. So it should be protected as well. And then to reduce the further burdens in the healthcare system. Kasi nga po, hindi naman to secret sa inyo, pero nakita natin sa media how happened in Italy na nag-overflow yung capacity nila sa mga hospital. We don't want to experience here in Denmark. So kaya kailangan po natin na kung ano yung capacity lang ng hospital, yun lang po ang need namin. Yun lang po yung ang magiging goal natin. Kasi bakit po ayaw namin matulad sa Italy, or ayaw natin magkaroon ng it's just an example kasi we cannot deliver the optimal care for the patients. Kasi kung marami na sila, hindi namin kakayanin yun dahil the admission period of the COVID, if it is not critical, so it's like minimum 7 days. And sometimes it will last for 14 days. And then in the intensive, it's a minimum for 3 weeks. And if you're in respirator, it's a minimum for 4 weeks. So we cannot just discharge the patient. And then from the intensive, they cannot just discharge at home. They need to discharge in the ward. And then we have to take care of them so they can go home. So that's why. Yeah. Next. Yeah. There's no evidence yet po dahil sa vaccine kasi yun nga po sinasabi ni Andra kanina na ongoing yung mga trial period, and then yung trial period namin, no? So but in Danish government po, they allocated a budget for clinical study that they follow up with 10,000 participants after they will receive the vaccine, the 2 doses vaccine. And then it will be focusing in the effectiveness and side effects of the vaccine. Kasi mahirap po ngayon kasi we don't know yet. Ito sinasabi kasi nasa data po ito na it's mahirap po siyang kung yung bang isolation or lockdown, totally lockdown ang mayroon siyang malawak na effect, or yung vaccine. So it's not yet been wala pa po ngayong result. So yeah, next. Actually dapat iano ko kaso I have a technical problem sa aking computer. But this one is a dashboard for the vaccination. What is the situation in the Denmark? Ito po yung sinasabi ni Popicon Vaccinil. Ito po yung sinasabi na since yesterday po, may naka-receive ng mga citizen, 13,636 citizen na first doses, and then may 645 din na citizen na complete na po yung doses. So tingnan niyo po at we target yung sa calendar na sinabi ni Catherine, na target dyan yung 80 to 90 years old na mga matatanda. I mean na mga citizen, I mean. So actually nasa ano na siya sa whole Denmark is nasa 6.4 for the first doses, and that 3.1% sa natapos na pong second doses, yung lahat na nakakuha ng full dose. Yes. Next. Ito po yung ano, no, this one is been updating, yung mga dashboard nila is been updating every day at around 2 p.m. So this is the latest update I get from the Staten Serum Institute. Right now there's no, actually, wait, can you stop sharing? I think it's not the. Can you stop sharing for the stop share screen sharing, please? Yes, I think I have to. Yes, this is the latest actually. If you can, I hope you can see it in your screen. Yeah. There's since yesterday there's a 27 new admission in that, and then there's right now it's a 231 patient admission in the whole Denmark, and then 43 of them are the intensive, and then 24 patients from the respirator out of the intensive patients, no? And then ito yung na-discharge nila, dalawa yung I don't know, and I think this one is the dead, I mean the from 4 out of the discharge is from the intensive. So as you can see po, ito yung kung nakikita nyo dito, ang pinaka dominant na nagkakaroon ng COVID right now after yung start tayo ng vaccine is between 10 years old to 59. But you can see here yung nasa 80 and to 90 years old is falling down actually yung admission nila. So although hindi pa yan na pinaka-final result, but we can feel it, lalo na ako kasi nagtatrabaho po ako sa COVID unit, so we don't have a lot of COVID patients actually na naka-admit at the moment. So I think po that's it for our report.
So thank you, Kat and Crystal, for the very informative discussion on the vaccination program here in Denmark. So I think based on your presentation, so far we have more than 375,000 Danish residents who have been vaccinated, and that equals to around 6.4% of all residents in the whole of Denmark. So we are hopeful that we will reach the deadline, the government's deadline to get everyone vaccinated by the end of June. And I think right now we're ramping up the vaccination. Today is the first time that the Danish government is going to vaccinate around 35,000 people. So if they are successful in rolling out this number of vaccinations per day, then ideally we'll be able to reach the targeted vaccination rate by June, hopefully. So for our next presentation, we have uh, Ms. Charissa Chi Dupitas, who will discuss today the importance of Filipino visibility in the vaccination program. So, Ms. Charissa is a senior staff in the medicine department, M1, M2 Med, and is currently the national teleneurology coordinator in Greenland. So please, everyone, please welcome Ms. Charissa Chi Dupitas. Chi, I think nakamute ka. Yes.
Okay, yes. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, time check. It's 7:21 a.m. here in Nuuk, Greenland. Thank you for the warm welcome, and yeah, I would say congratulations also for the 75th anniversary of our embassy collaboration with Denmark and Philippines. Yeah, where is my share? Sorry, I'm not so good with this one. Bear with me. Share skin. Yeah, now it's working. Yes. Filipino nurses Nordic region. We are in the Greenland chapter. I am Charissa Chi, and then my husband who helped me to do this report. And welcome to Greenland. Here is the COVID-19 in the Filipinos in Greenland. The facts that from January 1 in 2020 in the Greenland statistic, we are 373 Filipinos that is here at residing in Greenland. Like locals, Greenlandic, Danish, and other nationalities that has CPR, sindsrale person regesta, each Filipino living in Greenland has the same rights as it comes to healthcare system. Free hospitalization, free medication, and free vaccination. To be exact, Pfizer was the first choice, and that's the one we had administered, and we started in January, first week of January this year. And Moderna was the second choice, but hindi pa to nag-a-arrive sa Greenland. So for now, Pfizer is the one we're using. Greenland is a COVID-free land at present. We have no cases of Filipino since COVID-19 begun. So good. No, this is a good thing that we don't contribute to the spread of this COVID. The importance of Filipino visibility in the vaccination program, I will tackle this one, and I'm very excited to show you the data that I was able to gather. And then as a Filipino, we are a minority group. How can we have an impact to the society as a foreigner in this country? Actually, I made the data even before I know that even before I was invited to this webinar, out of curiosity na, you know, many people would ask about vaccine and how it is and all of that. So I was just so curious if people are willing to participate on this vaccination program, since other countries, mostly third countries, you have they don't have the access for this. Not all of the countries, but in Greenland, it's for free and it's offered for everyone. So I have this data in January. It's the national system aims to offer a free vaccination to all. My question was, kapag tinawagan ka, kontakin ka to have the vaccine, what is your stand? This was the random people I met in town. It's here in the capital city, to be exact. Out of 42 respondents, as you can see already, the maybe answer, which is yellow-green, is 52%. Followed by those who cannot decide, it's the 29%. Only 5% who would say yes and prompt. And 14% said no to vaccine. So interesting, right? And then as far as I go through the survey and time goes, me myself, I get the vaccine 2 times now. The first dose and the second dose. The first dose was in January, and then second dose was the first week of February. And the second data is very interesting. Same question that the National Health System aimed to offer free vaccination to everyone. Kapag tinawagan ka, kontakin ka, what is your stand? And here is the data. It's 42%, 42 respondents again. And with this one, I put it in our Facebook group, the Filipino Greenland group, which is compromises of the different places. Hindi lang to dito sa town, but sa buong Greenland na mga Pilipinong nakatira in other towns and cities. So that's actually the limitation of my data is it's not the same participants who answered from the data 1 to the data 2. Because as I said, I could that's maybe my next the future what I will do, that it should be the same participants. But as I said, it wasn't meant to be used with this presentation, and I was just thankful that I could present the proper data for this. Oh, sorry. And here you can say that there are 55% who said yes, only 10% who said no, maybe there's still 21%, and those who can decide was decreased into 14%. And my next data, it will be summarized from data 1 to data 2. So I won't stay long for the data, and here is it. This is the comparison from only 2 persons who says yes, it goes to 23 respondents, and from 6 persons who says no, it goes down to 4. And those who says maybe, which is 22 persons, it goes down to 9 persons. So it's a big difference from saying no to now it's yes, and maybe from can't decide to maybe, and then it goes to yes, apparently. So it increases the number of respondents who are willing to get vaccinated. And it decreases the people who have uncertainties and those who cannot decide. So it was before kami na vaccine, and then nung after na kami na vaccine, and we had many questions also Facebook, or the people who would ask how are you and how it is, and yes, you're still alive, someone would joke at us. So maybe that is a big thing that they could see that we are participating on this vaccination program. And me myself, aside from being frontliner as a person, and that's why I will go to my next slide. The goal of being a Filipino nurse and a frontliner is to provide information about the COVID situation and current updates. It's in Danish, Greenlandic, so we would translate it to English, or somehow the important information in Tagalog for our kababayans. To provide awareness of the vaccine and pros and cons, leaving example as one of the first who received the COVID vaccine in the land. and to be congruent with the health system in promoting that prevention is better than cure. So mas better nang ahead tayong mag-ingat kaysa sa magkasakit pa tayo. So Filipinos foreigner, do we have an impact to the society in the pandemic time? The one way is, of course, our first response is to protect ourselves. Ano ba yung goal natin is that's our main. It's we don't want to get sick with this COVID-19. And the two way is how we protect ourselves and then we protect others. It's our colleague, our kids, our family, aside from ourselves. Maraming kababayan natin na they are working in food chain. So I'm really proud na walang Pilipinong nagkakasakit or walang nagka-COVID. So in that sense, we are promoting and we are helping the system to eradicate this and spreading it. We are avoiding immigrants. I know you know the difference of this. And we are trusting the system. This is the www.nan.kl. They have all the information from how to wear properly mask and different kinds of guidelines is there. And collaborating with the Greenland communication is the Corsic SMS, and they're sending all the information from there. The minority speaks, and we have voice because we are just a minority group, but we are helping them to make it stronger that we are not spreading this pandemic. This massive we have a massive fighting spirit, and our kababayans, and it comes to like we also fighting with that and we have a moral support to each others. That's how the tatak of the Filipinos. Here are the challenges that we could see: the amazing snow iceberg and northern lights as it's comforting homesick kababayan, and the chances to go home and see parents, brothers and sisters and our family is having a hard time, and that the borders are closed, quarantines as this at most, and visas are expiring, passports to be renewed. That's the most challenges at the moment. And but we were able to get through it. The challenges of the healthcare system, which is aside from ensuring that COVID will not take place, patients, sick people that needed to be treated abroad have to wait for some times. Greenland has limited resources for advanced tests and treatment. So Denmark and Iceland is the nearest country we can travel our patients from here. And as of now, telemedicine is one of the known source in connecting towns, villages, and farther settlements. Kasi malalayo yung places ng Greenland. Yes, I think that's all I can share. Time is the most valuable, and we can spend. And thank you for sharing it with us. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you very much, no, Charissa. You shared very interesting data from our Filipinos there in Greenland, no? And we also recognize the role of our Filipino health workers, especially our nurses and doctors who are in the front line of treating COVID patients. We'll be very happy to share the information you gave us, Charissa. No, I think when you guys got vaccinated, those Filipinos, I think the sentiment is that more Filipinos were willing to get vaccinated. Tama ba, Charissa?
After nung mga February na, doon na sila nag-change mind, or some would say, okay, now that we can see that everything is fine with the vaccine. So far, we have no admission after the vaccine, and yeah.
Yes, I think I've seen most, no, from maybe to yes. I think probably 90% of those who said maybe first are now convinced to be vaccinated. So your role is very important now in the Filipino community there in Greenland. We are very thankful for that. And I hope we can do also the same here in Denmark. We will be very happy to share disinformation through our social media channels. And to proceed with our last agenda for today, we have Miss Mary Rose Velasco Mortensen and Mr. Gerard Paul Dubitas, who will share their experiences after being vaccinated. So Miss Mary Rose is a registered nurse in Sweden and is currently working as a nurse in a private nursing home in Gothenburg. Her primary job is to take care for the needs of the elderly patients with cognitive disorders such as Alzheimer's and dementia. Mary Rose is responsible for overseeing each patient's overall health and medical histories. While Mr. Gerard Paul Dupitas is the head nurse in the patient hotel at the moment. Earlier, he had been the national telewound care nurse. He is also a specialist nurse in wound for the whole of Greenland and the head nurse in the orthopedic ward. So please welcome everyone, Miss Mary Rose and Mr. Gerard.
Thank you, Sir Barry, and thank you for having me. I will share my screen. Share. Can you see it now? Yes. As Sir Barry told you, I'm from Sweden and I'm living here in Gothenburg. So these are the vaccines that is offered in Sweden. Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and Moderna. And na-mention na po ng mga colleagues or mga other panelists na ang differences ng mga vaccines. So, ito yung ino-offer ng Sweden. So, yung Pfizer and Moderna are mainly used for the elderly. And while yung AstraZeneca is currently recommended for people, is not recommended for people over 65 years old. So it's mainly used in the healthcare workers and the nurses. So katulad din po ng Denmark and other countries, yung Swedish Public Health Agency's schedules also based on priorities. So one of the priority po ay ang mga matatanda na nakatira sa mga nursing homes katulad ng pinagtatrabahuhan ko. And another priority is yung mga patients or groups na may greatest need for protection. So binibigyan po lalo na yung mga at risk, may mga sakit o kailangan nilang magkaroon ng protection. And then, of course, kami po ng mga staff nurses at mga healthcare workers, mga assistant nurses, sila po ay isa sa mga priority, lalong-lalo na po yung mga nag-aalaga sa mga matatanda. So, ito po yung naging preparation for vaccination. So, lahat po ng patients namin, kailangan ding mag-fill up ng healthcare declaration, and as well as yung mga personal at kami po, kailangan namin i-declare to. So, kailangan po nating i-fill up o sabihin na may history of allergies at lalo-lalo na sa mga taong nagkaroon ng reaction sa other vaccinations. So, isa pa rin po ay yung mayroong mga gamot na iniinom, lalong-lalo yung mga bleeding tendency na merong due to diseases. At yun nga, yung mga medicines nila. So, isa pa po ay kung pregnant women, so isang no for the vaccine. And then, kailangan din po nating malaman kung merong tao na in case nagkaroon ng other vaccines 14 days ago. So hindi natin pwedeng ibigay yon sa mga patients or sa mga tao na gustong magpa-vaccine. So ito po yung mga kailangan naming isipin during the vaccination. So if sa mga patients namin, actually ako po ay nagbigay ng vaccine sa mga elderly patients namin. 40 people yung na-vaccine namin the first dose. So ito po yung inisip namin during the vaccination. So they have to stay or we have to be observant sa mga patient 15-20 minutes after the vaccination. Tapos sa mga personal naman or sa mga tao na yung mga personal namin, so kailangan nila not recommended to drive, syempre para for safety reason, if in case makaramdam sila ng hilo or what, so hindi maganda na maging accident prone sila. So eto pa po yung isa, yung sinasabi namin na they have to stay at home if nagkaroon ng mga symptoms ng fever or body pain or headache. So nire-recommend namin lalo na yung mga healthcare workers, if they feel like this, kailangan magstay at home sila. So eto naman is yung nurses and doctors is available if ever na magkaroon ng reaction. So napaka-importante po na nandun ang mga doctors and nurses namin. And of course, available din po ang mga medicines and yung mga treatment na pwede naming ibigay emergency if in case na mayroon magkaroon ng reactions. So yun nga po yung experience ko about the vaccine is last January 8 po, nag-start kami ng vaccination. So yung vaccine po is delivered to our nursing home directly sa nursing home namin, and then kami pong mga nurses ang kailangan mag-dilute ng vaccine, at that vaccine po within 6 hours should be given to the patients and to the personnel. Kasi unless it's useless, so kailangan within 6 hours span of time, kailangan maibigay namin yun sa mga patients. So as I said, 40 elderly patients po ang nabigyan namin ng vaccine and 9 health workers. And then ako po rin, after na nabigyan ko silang lahat, nakuha ko na rin po yung vaccine, my first dose ng vaccine. So yung basically yung naging a side effect sa akin is very light lang po. So nagkaroon ako ng pain and swelling sa injection site. Tapos nagkaroon ako ng konting light headache, tsaka light body pain. And then these side effects last for 3 days. Pero during the second and third day, medyo mahina na yung mga effects niya. So ito po yung card na binibigay sa lahat na magkakaroon ng vaccine. So nakasulat doon kung kailan nagkaroon ng vaccine and then the next dose, or should say 21 days in between interval ng vaccine. Kasi Pfizer po yung natanggap ko, so 21 days ang kailangan kong hintayin bago ako magkaroon ng vaccine. But unfortunately, after 2 weeks po ng vaccine ko, nagkaroon ako ng corona. Pero I was totally walang symptoms. So ang nangyari po noon ay nagkaroon po ng COVID sa aming nursing home. So that's why nagkaroon po ako ng time to nag-run kami ng swab test sa lahat ng mga patients, and at ang mga healthcare workers din at kami as nurses, kailangan din namin mag-run ng swab test for the tracing. So yun po ang nangyari. So kaya ako ay hindi pa nakaka-receive ng second dose ko. So actually contacted the doctor kung paano ang gagawin ko kasi nagkaroon nga ako ng first dose pero after the first dose ay nagka-corona, positive ako sa corona. So, ang nangyari po ay, ang sabi sa akin ng doktor ko is I should wait until 4 weeks after I recover the corona. So, sa ngayon po, it is scheduled, the next vaccine is scheduled next week. So, magkakaroon na po ako ng aking next dose. So, ito lang po yung message ko sa lahat or sa mga taong may doubts para kumuha ng vaccine. So, ito po yung masasabi ko na you can protect yourself and your loved one once from the disease kung kukunin niyo po ang vaccine. So this is the vaccination is the most effective way to avoid becoming seriously ill or dying in COVID-19. Vaccination can also help build the spread of infection. That is why it is important that as many people as possible will be vaccinated. So after vaccination, continue pa rin po ang paghugas ng kamay, paggamit ng face mask, and of course, ang social distancing. So, ito pa rin po yung reminder sa lahat. So, thank you very much, boss, for having me. At sana nakatulong yung aking experience. So, next is GP.
Hello, good morning. A very snowy morning to everybody. First of all, I'm a nurse here in Nuuk, and one of the first who received the vaccine. Our vaccine is Pfizer. So my task today is just explain to you what happened to me for receiving the vaccine. This is my personal based side effects after receiving the COVID vaccine, and the one I received is Pfizer. My first dose of vaccine, it was January 8th. The first dose is only mild pain from injection site for just 3 days. So nothing much. For our kababayan, you have to expect that when you come to the vaccination site, they have to ask you to fill up a form. What are your allergies? What are your serious sickness? And then they have to register it. And then don't be afraid, because when you come in, there's a team of doctors, nurses on site with their acute the bag. If something happens, they're very ready. The vaccine came in Nuuk in December, last week in December, but they started giving the vaccine in 1st January because they have to have planned it. How should they safely administer it to the public? And my second dose is in February 4. Just what Crystal said, the Pfizer has side effects. The first one is the pain in injection site. It's more painful than the first. The first night, I could not lay down on it, so I need to sleep lying on my back, not on the injection site. It's not bad for the first night, but in the next day, afternoon, I start to feel really tired after work. I don't know if I'm busy at work, but it's not the same when you're tired at work. The second day, I feel cold, had a fever, and pain in the joints. What what we call this in the Philippines is trancaso. It's this time I took medicine to ease the fever and the pain, and it helps. So I encourage the people that don't be a hero. So if the the symptom came up, so just took the medicine. It really helps. Third day, it's better than the second day, but still, I have to take the paracetamol so I can go around at the house and take care of my kids. And the third day, afternoon, I feel a little bit better without the fever, but still a little pain in the joints, in the muscles. And it's just Crystal said, the effects of Pfizer. And then the fourth day, I'm not tired anymore. It's like nothing happened. So after the fourth day, it's kind of go so well. The pain in the arm is gone, but the arm begins to swell, the injection site. The redness in the hand, you can see the redness even if I'm brown. It's very itchy. The swelling, redness, and itchiness took estimate 10 days before it's gone. And then thank you very much for listening. And then we just, if you have any question, just ask. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary Rose and GP, no? So we are also very excited to get our own shots. Thanks for sharing your personal experiences, and hopefully that we don't get severe reactions as mentioned before. So GP, I just would like to clarify. So after your second vaccination, all good, no? Very minor complications, right?
Yes, it's like in a textbook, like Crystal said. All of the symptoms it showed.
Okay, so we will expect that also.
So it's precisely what is this.
Yeah, so swelling, fever, and the
Swelling.
common symptoms that they have identified. While Mary Rose, I think Mary Rose, you mentioned that you were not able to get your second vaccine. So
Yes.
when are you getting the second dose?
Sa first week of, or next week pala, sorry. Next week po.
Next week. So that is how many weeks after you were confirmed?
It's 4 weeks after recovering the corona. Actually, nakalimutan ko pala ikwento yung tungkol sa corona. Wala po rin akong symptoms sa corona. So, naisip ko nakatulong siguro yung vaccine, yung first vaccine ko. So 4 weeks after the recovery, I will get the next dose. So, excited na rin ako makuha yun.
Yes. So everyone, these are two distinct examples of getting vaccinated. For GP, he had very minor symptoms, and for Miss Mary Rose, her first dose. She contracted COVID-19 after her first dose because there was an outbreak in the nursing home.
Yes.
And you were saying that the first dose helped you out with the symptoms. Basically, no symptoms at all for the COVID-19.
Yes, I think so. Kasi wala po talaga akong symptoms. Nagkaroon lang ako ng, natanggap ko lang yung message kasi nga nagra-run kami ng swab test sa lahat. So, na-receive ko yung message na I was tested positive, na wala akong nararamdaman. Pero actually, after nakakaramdam lang ako, siguro, ewan ko, after nalaman ko na meron akong positive, so naramdaman ko na medyo masakit ulo ko, ganun. Pero normal, walang other side effects. Or, sakit na naramdaman as COVID patient.
Okay, I think we are very happy that the vaccines are actually very effective, no? Here,
Yes.
I think most of our speakers also got vaccinated already. Hindi pa. So Floro, wala pa. Kat? Kat, not yet. Andra?
Even though I am a COVID vaccinator, but I haven't still received my shot. Even the first shot, because we go by the guidelines from the National Health Authority in
Yes.
Finland. We should prioritize those elderly people and those who are working with corona patients, because the amount of the vials are quite limited. So we prioritize those who have comorbidities and those other groups first before us.
So in Finland, you prioritize those persons first. Also, I think, but in Denmark, most of our health workers have been vaccinated. Correct me if I'm wrong. Crystal, Cherisa, you were vaccinated also?
I got 2 vaccine.
Okay. And currently on leave.
Actually, I
That's
wasn't able
why.
to receive a vaccine because it is not advised for pregnant women.
Okay. Okay, so we have varying cases here. Yeah, Crystal?
And I received po the completed doses. So nagkaroon po ako ng COVID, the first wave, and then nakakuha na rin ako ng completed 2 doses of vaccine.
Okay, so you had COVID before, but you were still recommended to take the 2 doses of vaccines. Okay.
Actually, yes, recommended actually, but no one will pressure you to take it because it's your personally choice. But we recommend it that you can get it because all of our speakers stated it. But yes, I had it all. COVID and then the 2 vaccines. So and I'm here and then I'm not so afraid. And then still working in the COVID with the COVID patients.
Yes, Cherisa, you were going to mention something.
No, just to make it a clarification. Kasi si Ma'am Crystal, nagkaroon siya ng COVID even before the 2 dose.
Yes.
It was before the vaccine. Si Mary Rose, nagka-first vaccine, nagkaroon ng COVID, and then waiting for the second dose, just to make it clear.
So we have a variety of cases here. And I think the bottom line is we all need to get vaccinated, and hopefully it will be available soon. We have a list of questions from our participants, and I'm going to read over them. And I hope everyone here can answer all the speakers. Right now, we are in gallery view. I think all speakers can be seen by our participants, so you could answer the questions directly. So our first question was from Ms. Winda from the Faroe Islands. Her question is, what are the possible risks of having a vaccine? And I think this was already discussed during the seminar. So I'll proceed to number 2. Ms. Len from Southern Newland is asking, what is the difference between AstraZeneca, Pfizer, and Moderna? When it comes to side effects, which gives the most allergic reactions? So this was discussed by Crystal and Kath, but do you have anything to say on this? Again, Kath, Crystal? Okay.
I think it will be. I think Floro can supply the.
Based on at least the research and studies, the current evidence-based data that we have read, both Pfizer and Moderna actually has an efficacy of 90 to 95%, and there are no serious life-threatening effects of the vaccine, meaning a person can normally get signs and symptoms of influenza, body ache, headache, muscle pain, general malaise, and fever. A fever can still be acceptable for 1 to 2 days, and if it lasts for over 3 days, then there is a necessity to call the health center and get an assessment. Whereas, according to the World Health Organization, according to the studies that they have conducted, AstraZeneca has a protection or efficacy of 63.09%, meaning you can still get protection. The main point here is it's not on, as I mentioned, it's not about the brand of the vaccine. It's on the protection that you can get, whether Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Moderna, whatever will be the vaccines that would be approved here in Europe, is that you can protect yourself, you can protect other people. So at least those are the data and evidence that we have gathered regarding those vaccines.
Thank you, Flora. I think that's very clear. They have differences in efficacy, and most have actually the same side effects. The next question was related to that. Ms. Raquel from Eastern Newland was asking, is the vaccine 100% safe? And we basically just answered that a moment ago. We're going to the next question by Mr. Ken Mortensen from Eastern Newland. The question is, does a COVID-19 vaccination open up for traveling to the Philippines faster than without, with the right papers in hand? And I think I'm the one who's supposed to answer this. So I think the Philippine government is currently studying the effect of COVID-19 vaccination. And I think at the right moment, they will be adjusting the travel regulations once we have established data on COVID-19 transmission after the vaccination. We have emerging studies from Israel and some other countries. And I think maybe a few weeks or months from now, we will see some changes in the policy.
And also, if I may add, based on the experiences and the presentations that have been given by our colleagues in the Nordic region, we can definitely say that Filipino nurses working and living in the Nordic region are capable enough. They have the necessary skills, knowledge, and the competencies to administer COVID vaccine. And this is a strong message to employers and policymakers that when you hire Filipino nurses, you can guarantee that we have all those that we need from us.
Definitely, I agree with you, Floro. more nurses, no, to the Nordic region. Our next question, the questions we receive actually during the seminar. I'll go through it. Wait. Okay, so the question is from Lucille. What is your stand regarding the vaccine from Russia? Can anyone answer this? Cherry, yes.
Yeah, as we had discussed all through our reports, we had only 3 credited by the European Union, which is yun lang ang aming implemented. So aside from that, we cannot say that what could it help or what is the thing. Russia, I don't know what exactly they're using, but the Pfizer, Moderna, and Astra is the only we can recommend.
Okay. Yes, I think Flora again.
Our stand for the Russian vaccine is that we still don't know anything about the Russian vaccine. So like with other vaccinations, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and Moderna, they have to undergo the protocols from the European Union. So if they passed the guidelines and the necessary requirements from the European Union, then we can definitely have it taken for the citizens of the Nordic countries.
Yes.
So just follow the protocols, and then if approved, why not? And
okay,
if it's effective.
That is well noted. And I think the new question is related to that. And they're asking about, Rika is asking about the vaccines from China called Sinovac. So you just mentioned that where there are only 3 vaccines approved right now by the EU, the European Medicines Agency, and anything other than that has not been proven effective, at least for the medical board. So let me go to the next question. What is the risk of getting vaccinated when someone has chronic disease, such as hepatitis B? So this is from Michael, who may answer this. Maybe Andra, Floro?
Yes. Regardless of your situation, actually the scientific community recommend that if you are immunocompromised, you should be one of the priority to get the vaccination. Regarding the risk, it's the same as to the other participants. So they need to undergo this assessment first if they are okay to receive the vaccine safely.
Okay, that was answered. Yes, Cherry?
Yeah, just to add to that, many chronic diseases or even those who I was in a chemo department, as long as hindi ka onset ng yung
Mhm.
sickness mo, you are allowed to get the vaccine. Or like before chemotherapy, my days or my weeks before you can get the vaccine, or after mo nag-receive ng chemotherapy, there are also dates before you can get the vaccine. But onset of your sickness, hindi ka pwedeng mag-vaccine. So it's the
Okay.
same with the other chronic diseases.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's noted, Cherry and Andra. I think, as you mentioned, you have to be assessed by a medical practitioner. So you have to be checked first whether you are able to receive this vaccine. From Love, the question is if the first dose have been administered, then you had COVID-19 after. Shall it start again with the first dose of vaccine? I think Mary Rose, you,
Mary
you were
Rose.
discussing this.
Yes.
Yeah. Mary Rose, are you there?
Yes, katulad nga nung naging experience ko, if you did get sick of COVID after the vaccine, it's allowed to have the next vaccine after 4 weeks. Sa Pfizer, it's the Pfizer we're talking about is
Yeah.
4 weeks, minimum 4 weeks na naka-recovered sa COVID. So, pwede ka nang maka-take ng next vaccine.
So this may differ, no, per type of vaccine. So for Pfizer, at least, Mary Rose experience is that after 4 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so our next question is from Hedeline. The question is, how safe is the COVID-19 vaccine for a kid who hasn't had chickenpox or measles? How safe is the vaccine for a cancer survivor or a cancer patient who is undergoing chemotherapy? I think some of this was discussed a while ago, but please, you're welcome to answer. Andra, Flora, or whoever.
For the kids, we want to be honest, we don't know yet. There are a lot of undergoing studies right now if the vaccine is safe to be given for kids. So at the moment, I think the earliest is the 16th and above. Some are 18 and above. So, but maybe Cherry, if you can add more.
No, sa amin implemented is 18 and above. The rest down below is already a no, because it's not started, or we don't know for now.
Okay.
But they are on research on that case.
Yeah, if I may add, that's why all the clinical trials of the 3 vaccines is only tested to 18 from 18 years old and above. That's why they are not all of those below 18 or below 16 is not it is not yet advised na maka-receive sila ng vaccine. Also included yung mga nagbe-breastfeed and yung mga pregnant women. So it's not yet tested. So it's still under clinical trial.
Thank you for that, Kat. I think there, yeah, as you said, there are ongoing clinical trials, no, for children, and we'll eventually know whether which vaccines are safe. From Rosemary, the question here is in case a Filipino citizen gets COVID here in Denmark, what help can they get from the embassy or from our Filipino health workers? I think from Filipino health workers first, and they'll answer. Ano? Crystal?
Yes. I actually medyo ako sa any particular as a health, because as a health worker, a Filipino health worker, we can, like Cherry said before, that we can translate it to you in our language, but still you need to, what our recommendation is, you need to follow what is the health department or the policy maker making, or Yes, GP, do you want to add? I mean, you have to trust because they are the one who's the best for it. But we are here to help you if you don't understand or you want some question. Of course, we are available.
Okay, so
Barry, can I answer? Can I answer, Barry?
Yes, sir. Of course.
Gusto ko rin mag-recite eh.
Go ahead, sir, please.
Sa embassy, depende sa pangangailangan, no? It depends on the situation. Siguro just to contextualize, in the whole foreign service, nakaranas rin kami ng pagtama ng COVID. Meron kami mga kasama, isang ambassador na namatay dahil sa COVID. Meron rin kaming whole range of mga kasama sa foreign service na nagkaroon ng COVID. At yung angkop na pagtulong, depende sa kanya-kanyang kaso, no? In case of a Filipino being unfortunately hit by COVID in Denmark, depende sa situation niya kung anong tulong ang kailangan niya, no? At the very least, I think nangangako si Conjen na isasama niya sa dasal araw-araw yung sino man na Pilipinong tatamaan ng COVID dito sa Denmark, no? So, ganun lang muna kasi depende sa sitwasyon ng kababayan natin na tatamaan ng COVID, kung anong tulong ang nararapat sa sitwasyon.
Thank you, Ambassador. We are also appreciative if you can, those who want to report no COVID cases of Filipino nationals here in Denmark. We welcome the voluntary information. I think we have one or two more questions here. This is an interesting one for Crystal and Kat, maybe. Do we have any news if undocumented migrants can get the vaccine here in Denmark?
Since the answer is no, there's no document. Kasi as Cherry and everyone else na diniscuss nila is it needs to be registered. Kung ano yung nakuha mo, when mo nakuha. It will be going in your journal. It will be seen in your journal. So right now po, wala po news about it.
Yes, I think we also have the same thing, no? From the Philippine Embassy. There's no information yet on this, and we will share once we receive that from the government here in Denmark. Okay, so more questions are coming. The new question here is there a summary of the facts and practical actions needed by Filipinos affected by COVID? How can we get those help? I think maybe who wants to answer this? GP? Maybe in the context of Greenland?
What's the question again? So supposed to be clear. So I should.
Is there a summary of the facts and practical actions needed by Filipinos affected by COVID, and how can we get those help?
Right now we have this. The government of Greenland make a group that only for the COVID purposes. So it's a group that disseminate all the information, all the vaccines, what are the precautions to do, and the one closing the borders is only a one group. And I think if we can, here in Greenland we have a site they made, so all the question, all the information is there. And then for the Filipino living in Greenland, you can actually ask everything there for everything for getting the vaccine and the information.
Okay. Yes, thank you, GP. We have the same thing also here in Denmark. I think the information is available on the Danish Health Authority website on what you are going to do if you contracted COVID-19. So everyone, please, you can visit the Danish Health Authority website for this. And we have channels to book COVID-19 test, coronaprover.dk, and also information even from the police on some of these things that you need to do. I think we have covered most of the questions, if not all of them. The last question was about the vaccine from China called Sinovac, which has 50% effectivity. And this was answered earlier, no? When we were discussing also the vaccine from Russia. Yes, Kat, Crystal.
Yeah, just ano lang po, no, additional. If you've been na-diagnose kayo ng COVID and you are admitted, actually merong ino-offer ang hospitals ng mga psychologist if you need someone to talk to kung natatakot kayo kasi it's really nakakatakot talaga magkaroon ng COVID in my own experience. So ino-offer nila yan if you're admitted. So pwede rin actually in my own experience, meron akong experience na pinuntahan ko kasi wala siyang ibang makausap. There's no family. So kinausap ko and everything. So we can be resource as well with that. But as Sir Barry said, lahat po nasa website po ng healthcare system dito sa Denmark kung ano yung mga question nyo. And yeah. Yan lang po kasi nasa base ako sa hospital. So you can as well get a help there.
Okay, thank you, Kat. And regarding the question now on the vaccination for undocumented migrants, there's currently a bill pending in the Danish Parliament regarding the vaccination of temporary residents, which are not included in the current Denmark's vaccination plan. So right now we can confirm that this bill includes the diplomats, but we are not yet sure if this will include the undocumented migrants. This is expected to be passed next week. So we will know more about this information once they released or they enacted this bill into a law. Okay, I'm going through the chat box also because I think there are some follow-up questions.
Yeah. Also in the Finnish law, undocumented persons can actually get urgent medical care, but they need to be responsible for the costs incurred during the admission or during the time that they get sick. Because it would be unethical to say that undocumented people who get sick are not treated just based on the status that they have in the Nordic region, for example, in Finland. It's unethical for us medical professionals to say no, because, okay, you don't have any documents, we will just don't take good care of you.
Yes.
It's part of our oath as health professionals.
I think the same applies also in Denmark, that once you need urgent help or urgent medical care, the hospitals are open to treat you. As for the vaccination, we have no information yet. Kat?
Yes, but regarding that, no, because Red Cross in Denmark is they are the one who is handling all the undocumented migrants or citizens, and ang target po talaga ng Denmark is all residents is kailangan po maka-receive ng vaccines. So, but date, estimated date, when are they going to give also for undocumented migrants? We don't know yet.
Yes. Therese. I think your mic is muted. Yeah, we okay. Again, nah, we can't hear you, Therese. Maybe while you fix your audio, we'll go to the next question. We have a question here from Rika. No, I have. Is it possible to lose your sense of taste and smell, but be able to just feel or taste, a little bit of flavor? pero not really talaga. Okay, Kat, I think this is a good question for those who have had COVID before.
Is this working? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes po. About that question, no, because based on my experience, it took me many months, like almost 4 or 5 months before 100% bumalik yung sense of smell and taste ko. And I can understand yung question niya na yung feeling mo nakatikim ka, because that time I really we don't know yet na isa pala sa signs and symptoms yung loss of sense of smell and taste. So before, when I was eating my food, my breakfast, wala akong matikman, so I thought na matabang lang yung pagkain, so I put a lot of salt or chili or something, but I can feel na masakit na yung dila ko, so I can feel na masyado na palang maalat siguro yung soup na kinakain ko that time. So it is really possible that you can feel it na na parang yung loss of sense mo is talagang nagbumaba talaga siya. And it really takes time before na bumalik siya ulit na 100%. It will just take a lot of patience.
Additional dyan sa sinabi ni Catherine, still ako mag 1 year na ako since I've been infected of the virus of COVID. Still may time pa rin na I don't taste anything, but I know I'm negative because we've been testing in the hospital twice a week. But still yun nga, yung be patient lang, babalik naman yun. But still now, until mag 1 year na ako, wala, medyo ano pa ako. Medyo minsan wala, minsan meron, minsan konti lang. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I think it's understandable that we have cases when there are prolonged symptoms of COVID-19, and there are worries that it changes the biological makeup of the persons who have contracted the virus. There are still ongoing studies on this, on the impacts of long COVID symptoms right now, but there are many cases who have been, or many individuals who have reported this. And one of them is the sense of the loss of taste and smell. Interesting, Kat, that you have regained it only after 4 to 5 months. Hopefully, most of those who have it can recover this symptom or this senses. There's also, I think, a follow-up question from Miss Rosemary, yung mismo sa Philippine Embassy. I think this was answered by our ambassador. He said that there are varying assistance depending on the need of the Filipino national. Okay, so we have covered all questions. Amazing. And then we had questions all over the Kingdom of Denmark and also from the Nordics. And right now, I don't see any more questions coming. So I think that is the end already of our Q&A portion, the Q&A portion of our program. And I think it would be nice to have some few words from our partners in this seminar, Miss Crystal, Miss Kat, and maybe some of your representatives for today.
I give the floor to Flora, our president in Finland.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
Flora, some few words to close. And maybe
few words. Sorry, I didn't hear quite well. Of course, in behalf of the Filipino Nurses Association in the Nordic region, we would just like to thank our ambassador, Mr. Leo Herrera Clean, and Mr. Albari Makalawan for inviting us to raise awareness about COVID-19 and COVID vaccine to our kababayans here in the Nordic region. We would continue to collaborate, engage more with our ties with the Philippine Embassy to raise awareness about health or anything related for the wellness, health and wellness and or welfare of our Filipino colleagues and Filipinos who are living in the Nordic region. To those who are watching us live right now, we would encourage you to take the vaccination, protect yourself, protect your loved ones, and protect the people. And let's work together to stop and curb COVID-19 here in the Nordic region. In Finland, we say that vastuullisesti yhdessä, so responsibility together. Not only me, but each one of us should do our part.
Thank you, Flora. So all your efforts are appreciated. All nurses, health workers right now in the Nordic region who are helping out everyone in this pandemic. Again, we are also excited to partner with Finland on more activities in the future. Definitely, we have more areas to consider. No? I'd also like to acknowledge the presence of our Consul General, Maria Antonina Mendoza Oblena, who's also with us today, and the personnel and staff of the Philippine Embassy in Denmark, who has made this webinar successful. We have Ms. Evelina Marisa Aldariega, who prepared the program for today, and also Ms. Sarah Correa, who handled our IT needs. And I think by that, we will end our webinar. Thank you so much for attending, everyone, and have a nice weekend.